Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, we're here to talk a little bit of Chelsea, some news brought to us by man like Fabrizio Romano, amongst a few others in relation to the Kai Havertz story. We're going to delve into that. We're also going to look at the Ben Chilwell move, supposedly Arsenal in for Jack Grealish. We'll cover a few stories with you this morning. Before we go any further, though, please do me a massive honor. Hit the like button, hit the retweet button. Please subscribe to the Football Terrace. We passed 142,000 subscribers yesterday. And so much of that is down to you all. So really do appreciate that massively. What's the news? What is the news? So reportedly, Bayer Leverkusen are expecting Kai Havertz to return to training in the next day or so and play a part of their Europa League campaign. Many people on Monday thought this wouldn't happen. A lot of the reports that were coming out of sort of the media, and especially out of Germany, is that this deal between Chelsea and Leverkusen was very close to happening. What we now know is that Bayer haven't lowered their asking price of 100 million, and Chelsea haven't offered anything above 80 million. The add-ons appear to have not worked. There was a lot of noise Monday thinking that this deal could be completed within hours, if not days, or days, if not hours. It felt like negotiations were going very, very well. But now, according to Fabrizio Romano, along with Christian Fawkes, that no new offer has been made, no revised offer has been made by Chelsea. Leverkusen have to decide now whether Kai Havertz is going to play in the Europa League. And according to most people in that space, it's becoming a bit of a hard poker game. And I think that's really interesting. First of all, Chelsea fans, don't panic. I was sitting there thinking about it last night, and actually, I get the sense and feeling that Leverkusen are being quite sensible here. I think they're looking at what maybe Jadon Sancho goes for. I also get the feeling that Dortmund are doing exactly the same thing. There is almost this element of, why are we going to commit to selling one of our wonder kids when there's another wonder kid of similar age, of similar abilities, moving to another Premier League club? Let's wait and see maybe the money they get. For instance, if Man United were to pick up Jadon Sancho for 80 million, it makes it very difficult for Bayer Leverkusen to demand more. Equally, if Man United drop 109 million, Chelsea may end up having to pay more because you're setting a price. And this is how market prices work. You know, if my street's a very in-demand street to live in, my house is valued at £500,000, but I get an offer in at 600,000, that's amazing. If my neighbour's selling their house, they may then want to hold out and go, actually, well, I'm going to get the same. My house is just as big. Actually, I've got a nicer garden. We've got a little extension. You know, there's all these elements where people need to understand that it isn't as simple as playing FIFA. It isn't as simple as playing Football Manager. There are multiple factors at play. There are thousands of little cogs spinning in this machine that is the transfer window within football, and it takes a little bit of time. Chelsea are also probably right not to just jump. And people speak about, oh, you got to get deals done quickly. Got to get them done quickly. Not always. Not when you're Chelsea. And although you've got loads of money to spend, what Chelsea still can't afford to do is to pay massive amounts of money over the odds. They've still got a left back and a centre back and a goalkeeper to potentially buy. If you drop 15 million too much on your first three signings, it's 45 million pounds eaten into your budget. You cannot afford to do that. Before we go any further, please hit the like and share button. Remember, personal terms on this deal are already agreed. So it's just finalizing details between these clubs. Let's have a little look at some of the other stories that are going around. There's one that Haaland vows to stay at Dortmund. It says here, the Norwegian sensation, Erling Haaland, says he wants to stay at Dortmund until the end of his contract. Yes, of course he does. Of course he does. Of course he does. In another piece of news, though, it says here, Kai Havertz is desperate to join Chelsea as soon as possible, but Bayer Leverkusen have told their young forward that he is staying put for the Europa League campaign. Talks continue between the Premier League and Bundesliga clubs. That's also another element to that story as well. That's just come through on my timeline. If Leverkusen are saying, even if we agree a price, we're not letting you go until after the Europa League, Chelsea may not formalise their bid till then. especially if nobody else comes in for him. Imagine you're Chelsea and you commit, you put it in cast iron that you're paying 80, 90, 100 million for Havertz, and then he picks up a year-long injury, and you're lumpered with a player that's injured for a year and you paid that money. Think about it. It's about being sensible in these situations. So I think that also may be an element here that's being focused on by Chelsea. We'll pay the money you want, or we'll come to a compromise, but you cannot allow him to play in the Europa League. That's all part of the thoughts and feelings surrounding this as well. Another story here: Richarlison is ready to leave Everton. Yeah, I'm not too surprised by that. Ben Chilwell, Chelsea want Chilwell to hand in a transfer request. That's also another element of these stories. It's true. So it's already hotting up Chelsea's pursuit of Ben Chilwell. The Guardian claimed that Chelsea are hoping that Chilwell will hand a transfer request in to move for an exit from Leicester, with the Foxes likely to demand £80 million. Imagine them demanding £80 million for Chilwell. £80 million for Ben Chilwell, which is an almighty sum of money. I'm just going to log into my account with KPMG here. The reason I say that is because they updated the valuations fairly recently for sports consultants. I'm not doing that job anymore, but I've still got access. It's great. He's valued at £36 million by the leading sports consultancies. The Guardian. There is no way Chelsea are paying £80 million for him. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year. Never. That isn't happening. Just relax, The Guardian. £80 million for Chilwell. Wow. It says the reports add that such a figure could be a stretch too far for Chelsea, with the transfer request likely to reduce that figure. Leicester, it is claimed, are prepared to let a key name leave this summer, with Chilwell the most likely, as Maddison has agreed a new contract. And yeah, that kind of all makes sense. But £80 million, that isn't happening. Let me just tell you now, that isn't happening. Not today, not next week, not next month, none. Another report that came out yesterday. Now, I want your views and opinions on this. You can call in, by the way, via Skype. Skype lines are open if you want to come on and have your say, have a chat with us. Comment here says Tagliafico is worth 45 million, I think. Yes, he is. Does he want to join Chelsea, though? Does Lampard want him, though? It is what it is. So, Arsenal reportedly want 80 million rated by Villa, Jack Grealish. He says Arsenal are amongst the clubs interested in signing Jack Grealish this summer. Grealish is reportedly undecided over his future at Villa Park after helping his side stay up. If he could prove problematic for the Gunners and these other suitors, however, with Man United also keen to sign a midfielder. Sky Sports claims several clubs are willing to pay between 50 and 60 million, but Villa do not want to sell him for less than a whopping 80. It does appear that 80 million pounds is this little benchmark that all these clubs at the bottom of 80 mil. Just say 80 mil and see what they come back with. Clearly a bargaining tool, clearly a negotiation tactic. But can Arsenal even afford 50 to 60 mil for Jackie Grealish? Come on. Come on. Does anybody think that's plausible? Do me a favor, hit the like button right now, please. Nearly 700 of you nearly tuning in. Please hit that like button for us. It's really, really important. Wow. David here, one of my members, says 142 subs. Well done. Growing like a mofo. Well done all. I appreciate that. And everyone who subscribed recently, a massive thank you to you. It's really important to us as a channel. Let's do a few more. How are you, Terry? Them lads last night were funny. Class channel, this, mate. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, the Liverpool show went really, really well. We're going to try and make that a regular occurrence. I'm working with Anita at the moment to create an all-Chelsea show that she'll be hosting and having people on. And that's what we want to do here at the Football Show. We want to grow as a network. We want to have new voices. We want to have new faces. We want to have differences of opinions. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't want everything to always just be I get bored of hearing my own voice. So in relation to that, it's important for us to make sure we do that. David here says, I'd guess Chilwell around 45 mil. Yeah, well, yeah, Chilwell's he's 36 mil is his valuation with the leading sports consultants. Gaming Engine says 150k. Here we go. Do you know, it'd be very nice by the start of the new Premier. I think by the start of the new Premier League season, we'll hit 150,000 subscribers, which will be amazing. And then we're going to have a big push to try and reach 250,000 by the end of next season. That's going to be the push for us. Also, new intro dropping very, very soon that's been made for the channel. Love it. Can't wait for you guys to see it. It's going to be amazing. So a big shout out to all of you that have made that possible, especially you, Zane. Especially you, Zane. Haunted Radio here says, Terry, this doesn't make sense to me. Won't pay the release clause for Thomas Partey, but now want Jack Grealish. Exactly. You know, I was talking to a few Arsenal fans online last night. We were just sort of chatting DMs and things like that. Quite a few gooners that I know and respect think that Arsenal were just playing a game. I don't think Arsenal are going to sign anybody of any real substance this summer, but they're just playing around in the market. They're almost submitting bids they know are not going to be accepted in an attempt to say they tried. Yeah, a bit like someone that's, you know, on job seekers allowance. I don't even know if that exists anymore, but on job seekers allowance, and they have to apply for some jobs to qualify for it. And instead of applying for jobs that they know they could get, you know, they're applying to become brain surgeons. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, no, I am applying for jobs. Yeah, but you're a qualified bricklayer, bro. Why are you applying for a brain surgeon job? That's what it feels like they're doing here. You know, it's like, oh, let's just posture. Let's just grandstand. Let's just do something that makes headlines. But actually, we've got no, possibilities of pulling off. That's how it kind of feels, in my very humble opinion, anyway. Let's see a few more comments here. I think this Grealish Arsenal thing is Villa trying to send out a message to United to cough up the peas. Not that big a step up for Jack either. Well, Philip, it's true. I mean, for Jack Grealish, if Jack Grealish leaves Villa, in my opinion, it will only be for Champions League football. There's no mileage in him moving to an Arsenal or an Everton or anyone like that. There's always a risk when you move clubs, it doesn't work. At least the risk is mitigated if you're going to a club that's playing Champions League football or is on the up. The only team outside of Man United, Chelsea, City, Liverpool that would be worthwhile him joining. Only two teams that I think would be worthwhile him joining, and one of them is probably impossible, is Wolves, which would be impossible because of his connections to Villa, and Leicester. Maybe Tottenham, but then Tottenham are not looking to play the progressive football under Jose. So I wouldn't say it'd be a good hunting ground for him. We have one of our first callers of the day. Welcome to the Football Terrace. Tell everybody your name and who you support. Hello, mate. Who do you support?
Hi, my name's Hamza.
Lovely. Who do you support?
You know,
yeah, what do you make of the news that we're talking about this morning? What do you want to say? Okay, Hamza. That was worthwhile. Congratulations. Congratulations. Shrey, welcome back to the channel. What do you want to say, mate?
Yep, Terry. Actually, I think the deal of Havertz to Chelsea, it's very good for Chelsea. I think they're doing bits in the transfer market.
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely doing bits. They're definitely doing bits. There's no doubt about it.
We were competing for Sancho first, and we are going to get Sancho, and I'm delighted with Sancho. But they have gone and used their money very well.
No, I agree. They definitely have, and there's still more for Chelsea to do. There's more to come from Chelsea in this window. I'm very, very sure of it. Of course, they have to improve their backline. Most Chelsea fans, most experts as well, agree. And as I said already in this stream, I think Chelsea fans need to remain relaxed about Kai Havertz. The Europa League situation could slow it down, because for me, by the way, if Jadon Sancho was still playing, if Dortmund was still in the Champions League, I wouldn't want us to commit to the deals until after they'd finished playing, in case something happened to the player. However, if suddenly Bayern Munich go in for Kai Havertz, then Chelsea may have to act. At the moment, they're the only club that is seriously in for him because he wants to join them. And I just think it's a little bit of posturing. I think if they maybe increase their bid by £5 to £10 million, they'll get him and he won't play Europa League football, but it's there or thereabouts. What do you make of this Jack Grealish situation? Reportedly, Arsenal were looking at trying to buy him.
The Jack Grealish to Arsenal deal.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think Arsenal can afford him. I think, as one of your comments said, if they won't pay like the release clause for Thomas Partey Arsenal, how the hell are they going to pay the amount for Jack Grealish? And even if they were in for him, as a United fan, I really like Jack Grealish, but I'm not that worried because if Oli wanted Jack Grealish, he just needs to make a call to Jack Grealish, and even if he is doing his medical at the Emirates, he would come running.
You are right there. You are. That's the power that United and Oli have over Arsenal now. There isn't a player in the world that Arsenal can sign that if we wanted, we wouldn't get. And I agree with you. If it was us versus Arsenal, I don't think there is a player. I even think if you could go back in time and grab a 21-year-old Thierry Henry and bring him into 2020, he'd pick, knowing all he does, he would pick Man United now over Arsenal. Arsenal were falling so far from grace. There doesn't appear to be too much of a plan. The majority of their fans that you speak to are not confident in their club. And do you know the best thing that can happen to Arsenal? From a rival fan's point of view, is then win the FA Cup this Saturday. I'll tell you why. If they win the FA Cup, it's going to paper over every single crack at the club. They're all going to get gassed. They're all going to get overexcited. And then it's all going to come crashing down again next season. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think some of them Arsenal fans are expecting top 4 next season, which I don't think they can get for the next 2 seasons at least. The way, as I said, the top 4 are looking right now. The top 4 looks set to me for the next 2-3 years, right now.
Oh yeah, Arsenal are a million light years away, even from Manchester United and Chelsea, let alone City and Liverpool. It's a long, long way back for them. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. So yeah, I don't have any fears. I don't have any worries. I don't have any concerns about Arsenal. If they got Jack Grealish and we didn't, that's simply because Man United are not serious about Jack Grealish. And that's why I think Arsenal are mad when it comes to this Thomas Partey situation. I would love Man United to want Thomas Partey, but we don't. We haven't made any serious moves for him, nor of City, nor of Liverpool, nor of Chelsea. So Arsenal have got a bit of a free run at this guy, and they're still messing about with that. Can you imagine them actually trying to compete with us? Honestly, it would be like me going up against Bill Gates in a bidding war. It's like I can't compete with him. Bill Gates' shoes are probably worth more than my house. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I can't compete with it, so I wouldn't bother. And that's Arsenal. And Arsenal are even worse than that. Like I legitimately don't have the money that Bill Gates does. Arsenal actually do. I mean, Arsenal's owners. I read somewhere that Arsenal's billionaire majority shareholder actually has more cash. Than Abramovich. That's bad. And look, by the way, Man United's owners aren't much better in terms of investing money.
Nah, exactly.
But at least we spend. The problem we've had since Fergie hasn't been the lack of spending. It's been spending in the wrong
spending.
It's been poor spending. Arsenal, by the way, have spent poorly as well. But in recent years, that volume of spending is deteriorating. And where Arsenal used to get away with it is they used to have stars they could sell for large sums of money. I mean, think about Arsenal's squad now. Other than Saka and Martinelli coming through, maybe Kieran Tierney, how many of their players do other clubs genuinely want and would be prepared to pay big money for?
I think only Aubameyang comes to my mind. I don't think anyone else. Ozil is finished. Like I said, he's a good player, but I don't think any top 6 club would want him. Who would do Gundozi? I don't think Gundozi gets into the top 6's team anymore. I don't think anyone would. The defense is a clown defense, so I don't think anyone would want any other than Aubameyang maybe. And which I don't want anymore because I think our front 3 is good enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely. Arsenal have got to pull their finger out. If they get Jack Grealish, he certainly improves their team. But as I say, I can't even see that deal. I can't see it happening in a month of Sundays. I really, really can't. I really, really can't at all. But there we go, mate. I appreciate you coming on, having your say. Thank you very much, bro. We'll speak to you again soon. Super chat here says, like your channel. How do I call him? On these shows, do it via Skype. The Skype information is available. Just search Football Terrace or Terry Flewers and you'll find it. No problem at all. We've got Dark Side User calling in now. Dark Side User, welcome back to the channel, mate. What do you want to say?
Just watching the show. I'd like to say it was a great show last night with the Liverpool guys. I'm just wondering, Will you be doing a call up with the Liverpool guys soon?
Potentially. Yeah. I mean that will work something out with them for them guys to do that and put that out there. We can certainly look at doing that. We're going to be doing a bit of a call-in show in the next a few days or so. I've just added a few people to the call here. Jim, are you on?
Yes, hello. Good.
How you doing, mate?
Not bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. I'm very, very well indeed. But yeah, so just answering the other caller, get through his call up and answered yours, which is very weird. Normally merges people together. I was going to say we're going to do a Chelsea Arsenal preview either tonight or tomorrow night. We're going to get a few people on to preview their FA Cup final. We've got a super chat here from Blue that says, I find it baffling that Leverkusen stalling the Havertz transaction. The fact that they did it because Leverkusen need him for the Europa League runnings. Yeah, I mean, that's why they've done it as an example. But Jem, and welcome Flawless to the show as well. Appreciate you coming on, bro. Jem, first of all, I want two things from you. One, are you still confident around the Kai Havertz deal? And secondly, Arsenal for Grealish. Is that a madness?
I don't see Arsenal for Grealish working because I don't think Arsenal will spend that kind of money, will they? They always have a problem with spending money on someone like Grealish. I mean, how much is he going for at the moment, too? How much are they saying he's worth, Grealish?
Well, look, most of the clubs that are looking at him are thinking 50 to 60 mil. His valuation with the leading consultants is around 50 mil. Villa are asking for 80, but that's them trying to up the price. I can't say they're only offering 25 mil for Partey. Madness.
Yeah, no, Partey's not 25 mil for me. Partey is minimum for me about 60, 70 mil. Do you know what I mean? Minimum. He's an awesome player, but Grealish for 50, 60 mil is not a bad shot. I just don't think Arsenal would spend that kind of money on a player. In terms of Kai Havertz, I think we just need to be patient. I think there's a lot going on in the backgrounds, and I do think that we can't just rush into just buying players just purely because, like you said, we're looking for centre backs, we're looking for goalies, looking for left backs. If we end up paying over the odds for a player like Kai Havertz, it might affect the budget that that Lampard currently has. So we might have to play a longevity game on this, which, to be honest, I don't think any Chelsea fan wants. But I do think we'll still get him.
Yeah, and I think there's this notion, Chelsea. A lot of Man United fans are very sort of, everyone else gets deals done a lot faster than we do. Yeah, not the big deals. Remember, Timo Werner took 3.5 months and he had a buyout clause. So there's no negotiating the fee. It still took 3.5 months. The Ziyech deal was late. They were meant to get it done in January and it overrun. So it's not early, it's late. Do you get what I mean? I always say, if I turn up for work at 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm late for work. I can't claim I'm early for tomorrow. And but it's again, people posturing. I think the Leverkusen, I get what they're doing. That they want Kai Havertz to. I always felt the Werner. I understood because of the situation, but there's a little. If I'm a Leipzig fan, I probably feel a little bit bitter towards Werner that he didn't stay to play for us in the Champions League because with knockout football anything's possible, especially as it's one-off games now. But we get why he wanted to join Chelsea. I think Leverkusen are just trying to protect themselves against the same thing. And again, if you're a Chelsea fan, you don't really want to drop 85 million pounds on a player, especially if it ends up being a compulsory purchase order. And then the man picks up a 6-month, 12-month, 9-month injury in the Europa League, then you're lumbered. Like, if he has to play in that tournament, if you're Chelsea, I think you wait until after the tournament before you actually make an official bid.
Exactly. And not just that, I think in terms of Sancho and Man United as well, I think you guys are probably having the same problem in terms of getting a fee agreed. I don't think Man United would spend 110 million on Sancho, to be honest. I think they probably look more to the 90s. So again, it's potentially the same problem as Chelsea are having, where you're probably going to have to pay the longevity game. I think both players definitely want to come to the Premier League. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that's the problem. I just think it's the clubs, isn't it, and the negotiating of the fees that's going to stall Chelsea and United on these top players.
I hear that. Flawless, you there, mate?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, bruv. I wanted to get your take on the Jack Grealish situation. Firstly, 50, 60 million pounds seems to be what the Man United of this world are willing to pay for him. One, I think we know that's a fair price instead of 80 million. I mean, 80 million pounds is an absolute joke. And I don't think United would pay it. Do you feel concerned as a Man United fan that Arsenal are trying to get it? Do you think Arsenal have got any pulling power over us anymore in this game, or do you think it's just a ridiculous notion?
Yeah, I don't think they have any pulling power anymore. I think when it comes, just like you stated with them with the Thomas Partey deal, if they're only offering 25 million for Partey, it's like, and he supposedly has a minimum release clause that is like 40 million. I don't see them paying the money for Grealish. I don't know what it is with Arsenal. I don't know if they don't want to spend the money or if they don't have the money. Like, I'm very, very unsure. I don't understand why. Plus, with Grealish possibly going to Arsenal, I don't think that's the type of player they need.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he get in for them? It depends if Ozil goes or if Ozil stays. Obviously, we know Arsenal, their team isn't the best, but we know they need defenders. They need centre-backs.
Yeah.
So why they would go and spend 50, 60 million on Grealish? I don't know. Why not go and spend 50, 60 million on a centre-half or two centre-halves?
Mate, I agree. And I think, look, I really rate Grealish. I've been looking at a lot of his sort of statistics, but also the kind of the footage behind them recently. It's been an interesting exercise I've been doing. I've also looked at Koulibaly. I actually now don't want Koulibaly at Man United. That guy's a clown. Let me tell you this.
How come?
Oh my days. So they've got there's a stat on there for ball losses. It's how many times a player loses a ball. And some of them are just sort of like a player attempts a long range pass and it doesn't come off. You think, okay, that's fair, right? When we think Maguire has made mistakes at the back with his passing or being caught out of position, some of Koulibaly's are amazingly bad and they're comical and he is clumsy. And that's what I love about the Y Scout that I've got, because you see the stats and then you can see. So for instance, say you want to check out someone's aerial challenges. You then click, I can look at every single aerial challenge that he's gone up for. It isn't like selected by YouTube or by Sky. I can watch every single one. And I watch these ball losses and some of them are terrible. And there was one, just to point out, where he lets the ball like runs under his foot, right? And it lets a player go through, then goes on to score. Terrible. But that wasn't even the funny bit. The funny bit was, have you seen that video? There's a guy in a car arguing with a guy on a bicycle, and the guy on the bicycle's got a camera and he's recording it. And the white dude gets out the car, and chases him and kicks the back wheel and then falls over into the road. That's in 3 separate videos. That's how Koulibaly falls over, chasing after the ball. And it's like,
wow.
And I'm not saying he's a bad defender. One-on-one defending was pretty decent, but turned almost as many times as I saw Maguire get turned this year. So the way I look at it is this: if we're going to drop £90 million on another centre back, they've got to be better than what we've already got, if that makes sense. And I think Maguire's a pretty good defender. But I think what's more interesting about it, it's focusing on players and actually looking at, objectively looking at what they're good at and what they're bad at. And again, I've got the access to this, so I'm a little bit, unfortunate in that way. But I'm just looking at it again. I look at his one. By the way, I then watched lots of one-on-one defending and the losses of, say, Van Dijk. Man barely makes a mistake. Like, it's genuine, he doesn't. But equally, I then started looking at Koulibaly, looking at Upamecano. I've looked at this Gabriel kid that we linked with as an example. And every single one of them you go through, they're making as many mistakes as Maguire. So then it leads me to a different train of thought. Am I wrong to not want Koulibaly? Equally, are we wrong to overjudge Maguire's mistakes? Is it the fact that Van Dijk is just so superior to everybody else that we're not actually assessing other defenders correctly anymore? Are the other defenders making the same level of mistakes as one another, being taken on as much as each other? You get what I mean? Losing, like I see a lot more defenders now losing the ball at the back. If you click on like the Burnleys of this world, you very rarely see one of their defenders losing the ball at the back, because they don't try and play out from the back. So there's almost this element of, I think things need to be assessed. The same as Jack Grealish. Watching his chance creations, looking at his dribbling ability, this boy would improve Man United no end. However, I look at Arsenal's situation and he plays in exactly the same position as Saka. And they're telling us that he is, for me, Jack Grealish would be happy to sit on the bench at Man United to start with and fight for a position. If he goes to Arsenal and he's not starting, he ain't going. So I think that's where Arsenal fans need to be mindful that you've got this kid Saka that you're telling, and Martinelli that you're saying a generational talent's better than Greenwood. Well, why do you even need Jack Grealish? Said we're quite open at Man United that we want him for squad depth. And I think Champions League football, being Man United, you can do that. I don't think they can. But yeah, sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent there talking about Koulibaly. But the reason I'm bringing it back is that Jack Grealish, for me, watching footage of him for the last few days, the boy is super talented. If we paid 50 to 60 mil, I'm happy. Anything more than that, I think we are paying over the odds.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It depends on, like you said, what your valuation in terms of what you want to pay for a squad player. But I think with Grealish, I'm a fan of him too. but then obviously he doesn't make Manchester United's first 11. So say United did for me, paid 40, 50 million for him. I wouldn't be mad at that. But then obviously anything more than 50 mil, I think that's a bit steep considering that United have positions we need filling in terms of the first team. So I would sign Grealish just at the correct price. Even if we did overpay for him, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I'd be like, surely you should prioritize the first 11 rather than the squad, even though I do rate him.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the priorities are just difficult at the moment with all clubs because it's again, there's almost this FIFA element to it. I was chatting to an agent. So I got some information. I'm gonna do a full video, but I spoke to someone yesterday that's pretty much confirmed Sancho to Man United, and actually, Flawless, you'll know about that as well. To be fair, that's all I'm going to say. You know the same person that I do that's shared that information. Yeah. I chatted to an agent yesterday evening, someone that I used to deal with in my last job. And I was talking to him just about, because I'm trying to get him to come on the show, and he's just like, I can't. Like, the company he works for don't allow them to do things like this. But I want him to come on and like debunk transfer myths, the same as the financial people that do. And one of the things that he's always told me is this notion of computer games. That if your number one priority is, let's say, look at Man United. If it's our priority is Sancho, followed by Gabriel, followed by Partey, followed by Grealish. Fans have this notion that you buy in that order. And he just said that it isn't as plausible as that. You can go for a stage where, for instance, let's just say Dortmund was still in the Champions League. They may say, we're not entering negotiations until the end of the Champions League run, which from now is a month away. Yeah. So he says, if you go by that logic of fans, that you buy your priority first, it means for a whole month now, Man United don't do any work and sign nobody because they can't get Sancho until a month's time. It doesn't make sense. So there's almost this element of you work on, like Man United right now are working on all their deals at the same time. And when it comes to negotiations, there's an element of, you've had this, bruv, you work in the music industry. You must have had times where you've pitched an idea to somebody and they've listened to you, gone great. And then they go, we'll get back to you soon. And then sometimes it's 3, 4, 5 weeks and you're like, I ain't heard a damn word from them. And then you might chase them up and they're like, yeah, we are still reviewing it as an example. You're also then dependent on how fast they're working, and it could be that they're struggling to find their replacement. So they think, actually, if we hold out and do radio silence, we might create an opportunity to increase how much money they're willing to pay. And that's where it's just outside of your control so much. I think football fans just need to try and relax a little bit and understand that United are working hard to get these deals done. It isn't as simplistic as just clicking their fingers and go. You got the City deal for Torres. Everyone's like, oh, it was so quick and easy. Yeah, but knowledge is important. I didn't know this until Danny pointed it out yesterday. Valencia have put 80% of their squad officially on the transfer market. And as soon as you list a player, it's easy to get a deal done because you've actually told the world they're for sale. It's different. It's like putting your house on the market. If you want to sell your house and someone offers you the right money, you sell it quickly. If you don't want to sell your house and some random person turns up at your doorstep and says, can I buy your house? You got to think about it because you got to think, do I actually want to move? Like it's just understanding that the market isn't as simple as FIFA, I suppose. And that's where I think a lot of fans get panicky about it, but there we go. On the sort of the Sancho situation, are you quite relaxed as a United fan on that after what we found out yesterday? I know that's going to be very cryptic for the listeners, but I just wanted to ask you.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yes, bruv. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, my bad. Nah, apologies. I didn't know if you was talking to me. I was off a person on the line. Nah, it's cool. No worries. Yeah, of course. Like, I'm extremely excited. And in terms of what you were saying of it being in that order, I think more so, what I'm concerned about is just like, if the money's there, I'm not fussed about the order. So say, for instance, United did go and get Grealish first over Sancho. As long as the Grealish deal didn't affect us not getting Sancho or say a Thomas Partey, then I'm not fussed. I'm just like, get it done all as quickly as possible. So if the squad player has to come in first, that's fine. And in terms of the news you're talking about, that obviously we know with the inside, I feel it's great being on the inside. Ecstatic about that. Like, I can't wait. Like I've said previously on the show, I can't wait. Like, Sancho in my head has already arrived. Like, he's already in the number 7 shirt. Like, he's already on the right hand side. It's just a question of seeing it happen. It's always been with him a question of when, not if.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not convinced.
What I love about the Sancho,
who'd you drop?
Who would drop?
Who would you drop? Go
on, Flawless. You can answer that first, bro.
Oh, right. who would I drop?
I mean, Sancho comes in. So who gets dropped out of the top? Out the three at the top?
At the moment, at the top, I would go with Greenwood. That's me personally, and that's not because I don't rate Greenwood or don't think Greenwood is quality. You could argue Greenwood is possibly the best and has the highest ceiling out of the four of them, but because he's 18, I would drop him to the bench. But then what that does is, as soon as one of them, as soon as Sancho, Rashford, or Martial have poor performances, boom, Greenwood goes in. And then if Greenwood goes in and he's quality for 2-3 months, that one's on the bench. This is what we need, is competition for places. If you look at City there across the road, if you look at them, look at the options they have in those three positions. They have Aguero, Jesus, Mahrez, Sterling, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden. I'm probably missing a couple, but look at them 5-6 names there I just named. So that means 3 of them are going to be on the bench. So if they can do that over there, why can we not do it over here? And the thing is, United play a minimum 50, 60 games a season. It's like Greenwood's going to get his game time. He's 1,000% going to get his game time. This is what we want, is squad depth. Like I said, City are a prime example. If Guardiola can manage all them, we can manage having a Greenwood or a Rashford or even a Sancho on the bench. Like, people, obviously Sancho coming in, yes, I'm excited about, but just because he's coming in for that big money, if he plays poorly, he deserves to be dropped to the bench.
Mate, I do you know what's, and that's it. Do you know what's interesting? I'm going to be really controversial here. I look at, there's a difference between Martial FC and someone like me who loves Anthony Martial. Martial FC are Martial fans and they care nothing about Man United. If he joins, if Martial joined Real Madrid today, they would support Real Madrid. So I don't take their opinions on Man United seriously because they don't have a vested interest, if that makes sense. I've already seen the agenda of, it's for them, they've planted the seed. There's no debate. Sancho comes in, it's Rashford that needs dropping. And I don't necessarily have an issue with that as a notion, because I've said all along, I don't care which of the four, which one of the four gets dropped to accommodate the others, as long as we're playing good football and winning. My view is that any one of the four could miss out, including Sancho, who's coming in for this money. If the others are performing, and that's what you need to create a model of. And United, this is when I knew United were on the road to ruin after Fergie, when Di Maria came in and he got a little injury and he missed out. And we had Ashley Young came in and had about 5 or 6 games where that boy was balling, creating goals. He was looking dangerous on that left-hand side. Now, no one in their right mind has ever believed for a single second that Young was better than Di Maria. But there's an air of meritocracy. You need this element of, well, he's playing brilliant. Should he just be dropped instantly for the player? And a lot of people said, no, you've got to bring like Di Maria back on from the bench a couple of times and he's got to come on and perform. And a lot of people are like, no, you just drop him straight away. And I feel that kind of notion, it takes the competitiveness away. I think it allows complacency to seep in, and it stops people from fighting hard for their places. So on day one, I think it will be Greenwood that misses out because of his age and he's got time to develop. But if Rashford is smashing it on that left-hand side, for instance, if Sancho is killing it on the right, but Martial goes for a 5-6 week period where he's not at his best, then I want Greenwood coming in for Martial. Vice versa. Yes. If Rashford is struggling like he did, he's had a couple of months where he's been really poor, 3 or 4 games he's been poor, then I want maybe I want Martial put onto that left and Greenwood through the middle as an example, or Greenwood put to the right and Sancho moved out to the left. There's this element of, I don't care which of them it is. I just want the best 3 informed players to start as an example. But what Martial FC are going to do, and then you'll get Rashford FC do it, is they'll create an internal war, civil war. And it's like, we don't, I mean, it's a bit of Marvel quotation there, but we don't need that. What we just need is the best. And this is where, like, and fans will do it. And I know certain fan channels will do it. It's just going to become an agenda. It's like, we don't need to have this negative agenda. The way I look at it, there's almost an element of me that's like, I'm just excited that we've got a stacked bench, especially with 5 subs that are allowed per game. It's, and this is where, again, teams like United and City and Chelsea and Liverpool can dominate the league next year. If we all make the right signings this summer, we could have a situation where theoretically in a game in the Premier League, we could bring on Greenwood, Van der Beek, Grealish, Fred, and McTominay. Imagine those 5 fresh players coming on after 70 minutes against a really tired team we're trying to break down. Like on paper, that's just a madness. That's something to be excited about. But there's this weird narcissism with fans about, oh, my favorite player has to start. It's like I grew up and Beckham was my hero, predominantly because we're from the same part of East London, went to the same school, born in the same hospital. But if Beckham didn't score in a game, I didn't care. It was like, but Man United won. And that's why I find football fans who love a player more than their club very weird, because it was never about who scored. There's always certain... romantically, there's always a player I'd like to score. For instance, I'd love Paul Pogba to bang in the winner in a cup final just to silence people. Does that make sense? You know, but at the same time, if it was Phil Jones, I would celebrate just as much. And I remember seeing like Fellaini score important goals, and certain YouTubers and certain Man United fans barely celebrate. I'd watch their reactions back, and they'd be like, "Okay." I'm like, "How are you not happy United scored a winner?" Oh, I know why, because you don't like Fellaini. Imagine that taken away from your joy. It's weird. It's really weird. But yeah, I'm just excited to get those boys in. Sancho is very close. We've got a guy coming on the show today who's got a very successful hit rate of predicting these deals coming through. And he's coming on the show to talk Sancho a little bit later. So like really, really happy to have him on as an example to talk about that. But boys, listen, I appreciate you both coming on, Jem. We'll reach out, Jem, in relation. We can do an Arsenal Chelsea Cup FA Cup final. I actually forgot the FA Cup final was even going on. I've had so much transfer stuff to work on, but we'll get that either booked in. We'll reach out. We'll either get that booked in tonight or maybe tomorrow. Preview that up and see what everyone's thinking and feeling.
When is the final?
Saturday.
When is it?
Saturday.
Oh, is it Saturday?
Saturday,
wow,
bro.
Really crept up.
Yeah, man.
I didn't even realize.
I know. It's what happens when there's no big teams in the final. Yeah. Boys, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll chat to you, man, soon. Yeah, take care.
Yeah, man.
Cheers, boys. Thank you both for coming on. I appreciate it. Interesting thoughts and feelings. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Do me a big favor again. Hit the like button, please hit the share button. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.